Can we be honest here? I don't think Casey was ever really confused about what he was feeling towards Anaya. I think he knew exactly what he wanted, he just didn't want to look like the bad guy. There's a difference. What really got me was how he wanted all the grace in the world for exploring, right? But he didn't think about how his actions would land once Casa Amor was over. What turned into I have nothing in common with Anaya turned into oh, she's on a thin line. Casey, please don't piss me off. And Kata, girl, when are you going to see that Zach is not worth it? Wipe those tears, honey, okay?
Kay Unscripted, no teeth restricted. In this journey, watch our stories unfold.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is Kay Unscripted. I'm your girl Kay, and today we're breaking down Love Island USA Season 8 episode 20. And as always, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for all of the support so far. I really appreciate it, y'all. I appreciate all of the love and the support, but I need to hear from y'all. Y'all have been real quiet, no comments. What's going on? Now, before we get into this recap, just take a moment please and like this video, comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now let's get into this episode because I have a lot to say, okay? So we pick up with the aftermath of that damn challenge, right? We see a chat with Che and Kata. She wants to know if the family gets close to the girl they're dating, that type of thing, and they both agree that they want their person to be close to the family. They talk about weddings, and remember Che is Indian, so he wants to know if there's anything celebratory about her Haitian background that she would have to celebrate on her wedding day. She said no, she's always seen herself as a girl who just wants to elope. Now, I don't know if that would work for him because Indians have big weddings, right? There are so many festivities. Why am I making all these mistakes? Festivities before the wedding, right? So she says in her confessional that Che is growing on her, but Zach is still on her mind. But she's going to do what she needs to do because that is exactly what he's going to do and what he's been doing, okay? So Zach talks to Alana. We're at Casa. He's trying to figure out what they were up to in that villa because of the challenge and the villa having won the licking and kissing category. Anyways, he says he's enjoying getting to know Miss Racist, but he's also thinking of Kata. Now, why is Alana still there? Because we know she's getting pulled out of the villa, so I guess that's going to be happening the next day. Anyways, she's saying that he has a wall up and she's finding herself having to hold back because she wants to be respectful of him. Now, you would think she would want to be respectful of the girl that he's also seeing, but no, she wants to be respectful to him because she said that when she likes someone, she's more touchy and all of that, and tells him that the ball's in his court. And then it's like these kissing cues just don't be adding up. It's just off in my opinion. But they end up kissing, and I said I bet he's still tasting his brother on that girl's lips, because what is this? Gaul and Jen talk about how fun the challenge was. He says he wants to talk to Kenzie, but she doesn't want to talk to any of the other guys, especially after seeing Kenzie and Dylan's interaction. Now, I feel like Jen should be exploring, okay? She said she's not upset about it, but she's clearly annoyed. And I just feel like, girl, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. That hasn't worked, so go explore. So then she goes to talk to Trinity and Anaya and tells them that she had a talk with Gaul, I don't know his name. And she said it was bad because he said he wants to talk to Kenzie and she's so pissed. So then we see G, I'll just call him G because I just cannot say the man's name. G goes to talk to Kenzie in Speakeasy and Kenzie's like, I've been meaning to talk to you. So Homeboy says that he's a little bit shy with it, okay? But he's been wanting to talk to her as well. Now Clancy is talking about she's not messing with Corbin like that anymore. And she's also liking her new connection with Dylan, but she finds G to be so attractive. And I said, attractive where? Anyways, she's saying that she wants to move to California and would love to go to his coffee shop because he owns a coffee shop and he has to take her around. Maybe Kenzie be used, I don't know. Kenzie uses the same playbooks on all these guys, because didn't she also say the same thing to Caleb? You remember that? Then they start making plans, and I said, Clancy is the type of girl you don't want in your friend group, okay? Because she's going to go with whoever she likes, even if she knows that you like that person. She's going to go for that guy anyways. She said in her confessional that he is her type. She likes older men and he's very attractive. And I said, at this point, everyone is Kenzie's type, okay? So the islanders both at Casa and the villa, they head to bed. Casey tells Sydney that Titi is sleeping in his bed tonight. Now in the villa, we see Trinity saying that she's sleeping in soul ties. And then back at Casa, Zach is saying that he'd go back to Kay. Bryce is still thinking of Trinity and hopes that she hasn't lost hope in their connection. Meanwhile, Amor is saying that everything is working out perfectly in her favor. And I said, girl, you better not get too happy too fast, because Sincere has been telling you them lies, girl. And we know he's not going to bring you back into the villa. So anyways, we get to the next morning and breakfast gets served. We're at Casa and I was so annoyed by this conversation between Casey and Cornball, okay? I mean, I kind of expected it from Cornbean, but Casey, my flabbergasted, because it proves what Messy Bryce has been saying about him all along. Now let's get into this conversation, okay? Because I was so annoyed. They're talking about bringing Palmida and Titi back into the villa. And Corbin is going to make a comparison to these ladies being college girls and how the girls in the villa are high school girls. So what does that make your little boys? Oh yeah, because that's definitely what it's giving. Small boy talk. That is what it is. So then Casey says that what took him 3 weeks with Anaya took him 2 days with Titi. And I said, okay, Casey. Hold on. I have been defending you this entire time, right? And now I'm more concerned. I'm concerned about you, Casey, because you're starting to show your true colors. Because I thought you were just misunderstood, but now I see that you were forcing yourself to like Anaya. That's what it was, okay? Because you didn't want to end your experience in the villa. Also, did you ever stop to wonder now that maybe, just maybe, it wasn't so much about Anaya's insecurities? It's kind of clocking in my head, okay? It was maybe her feeling triggered by your actions and the fact that she probably couldn't trust you. Or maybe y'all both just don't like each other and y'all were forcing it because y'all didn't want to go home. I am left to believe that, because I don't understand what is happening here with Casey. Anyways, Cornball tells him that all of the guys are saying that they've never seen him this happy. And then he also said that he hasn't thought of Kenzie one bit. And I said, wait a minute. So you were just with Kenzie, right? You were talking about the connection. And I just feel like he just wanted to see how far he could have gotten with Kenzie, because we know that girl is easy, okay? And now that you found someone who is more your type, you haven't thought about Kenzie at all? Okay. Now when Casey gets into his confessional, he said that he and Corbin have been thinking about the villa, but they're not thinking about the villa, right? They're in Casa and they're doing their own shit. And I said, you know what? Send both of them home. How about that? Send Casey home. I'm like, will the real Casey please stand up? Yeah, please stand up. Anyways, they're both saying that they're bringing a girl back from Casa into the villa. And I'm not surprised, okay? But then they got to saying how pissed Sincere is because Melanie won that challenge. And how she just be taking things too far in those challenges, okay? Now, can y'all also call y'all beloved brother Sincere out for lying and leading these girls on? Because it's giving one-sided, and it's always one-sided with y'all. Now back in the villa, Jen, Trinity and Melanie check in with each other. Jen said that she feels like G is not really good at expressing himself and he needs to work on that. But she's annoyed that he's not that obsessed over her, because remember, she said she likes her men obsessed. Okay, Melanie says that she's still open and just wants to have more chats with Corey and his teeth, but she's confused. But she's confused about what she should do, if she should move on or hold on to Sincere. And I said, girl, move on, move on. Sincere is being insincere still, okay? And I cannot wait for movie night, because I cannot wait to see what goes down. Now Trinity tells them, listen y'all, these guys are going to bring girls back, and it's not going to be a situation like Cordell, because I'm going to definitely be like Serena when she threw that breakfast on him. She didn't say that, but that's definitely how she explained it. Okay, you'll remember that time when Cordell brought back that girl into the villa, and then he came to bring breakfast for Serena. Yeah, that's what Trinity was saying. Okay, she also explained to Melanie that girl, you need to open your eyes, right? And Melanie said, he's not going to put me in the same situation twice. And I said, oh baby, get ready, because it's coming. Okay. Now Cynthia and Zach are pressed about the girls and what they're doing in the villa, right? In Cynthia then talks about how he built this good connection with Amora, and y'all, he had a list. He had a whole list for Amora. Okay, so here's a list. She's doing everything right. She's saying everything he needs to hear. She's making him feel good. She's reading his mind. She has a good head on her shoulder. She's educated. And we don't see him ever talking about Melanie that way, except for saying that they've had trials and tribulations. And I said, oh, so Amora is feel good B and Melanie is struggle B. Oh, okay. All right. I see what's happening here. Then Zach says that he woke up feeling weird. Kata's on his mind, and let's be honest, he's only feeling some type of way because he's worried that Kata's going to find a better connection than him. He loves playing in that girl's face, but he cannot stand the fact that she's interested or somebody else is interested in her. Okay, we know that's what's happening here. Now back at the villa, Kenzie, Anaya, and Kata talk, and they're talking about the guys at the villa and how mature they are. Anaya's saying how great of a person Carl is. Kenzie's telling Kata that Che is a package, so give him a chance. Now Kata says she's going to try, but she doesn't want to force anything. Kenzie gives them a little pep talk, and while I don't really like the girl, she did make some sense in this little part, right? She's telling them, look, y'all, the guys are not holding back, so I don't think y'all should hold back and then regret it later, okay? Now we find out that Alana has left the villa. She has left Casa Amor. Okay, I said Love Island in playing these games with y'all racist. Stop that. Now Kenzie has a chat with Dylan, and they're talking about cheating. She's asking if he's ever cheated. He said no, but he has been cheated on once, and he shares how he would text that person good morning and stuff, and they would never respond to him. So Kenzie said that she doesn't think she has it in her to cheat, and I don't believe her. She's lying. Kenzie be lying, okay? He said he doesn't have that much energy to be focused on multiple people at once, and he just wants to focus on Clancy only. She says that's the type of energy she's been waiting for in the villa. And like I said, Kenzie be lying, okay? She just says anything. But anyway, she says that they're on the same wavelength. Anyways, back at Casa Amor, Caleb's connecting with Jaden, I think, and they're good. I like them together. So then we see a chat between Amora and Sincere, and let's just say the guy says verbatim the same thing he said to Saul. Okay, he's like, oh, tell me about you. I want to know things about you that nobody else knows. And Miss Thing is just drinking all the bullshit, and I'm like, girl, open your eyes. You saw the episodes, you saw these, so what is going on here? Do you just want to get into the villa? You know you're not going, right? Anyways, she said that she did majorette before, and I was kind of thinking, is that the dancing thing? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Anyways, he said he knows sign language and he teaches her to spell her name. Y'all, was he right? Because we know Cynthia be lying too, okay? Please let me know. But he said that was his minor, and he was teaching and learning ASL. And then he says, I just feel like we be pouring into each other's glasses. Since he's always trying to sound deep, and it's just not cutting it. But then she's like, oh, I feel the same way about you. And then they kiss again. Now Corey and Melanie talk. He wants to know what her love language is. She said it's acts of service because she's a very independent person and she feels like she can handle anything. It takes her a while to trust someone to do things for her, but when they do, it's like, okay, I can fall back a little. You could lead me, okay? So she also said that she likes to give a bit of all of the love languages to her partner. Corey then said that he's super affectionate and he's not ashamed to show emotion. We also find out that he is mixed. His dad is black, I think he said, and his mother is Puerto Rican, but he doesn't know how to speak the language, and I get it because we speak Creole here, and my parents used to speak Creole to each other as a way to communicate and to discuss things that they didn't want us to know about. And it wasn't until I got older that I actually started to understand and I'm able to speak the language. I'm not very fluent, but I can say some things, okay? So they talk about dream homes. Melanie says that her dream home would be to have a lot of land and to have a normal size house, and then each of her family members would have their house in close proximity, and to have a golf course and a farm and all of that. But that's not for me, sorry. That's not for me. I don't want to be that close to family. Good for y'all that have great family dynamics. I don't, and I'm good with that, okay? I don't want anybody in my face or in my space. My husband is enough. Anyways, Jen talks to Ronnie. She's wondering if something is wrong with her because usually the guys would be drooling all over her, and that's not happening. So she's trying to figure out if she's hideous, and I said not hideous. She also shares that G is her physical type, but he's not big on physical touch, and that's a sign to her that someone is into her. And I said, I know she's been seeing her son Gabe because these two were getting it in, okay? Now Ronnie lets her know that he's interested in exploring her and that he enjoyed her kisses, and of course he's gonna tell her that, okay? He says, if we get in bed, I wouldn't keep my hands off you, child. And we know that's what Jen wants to hear, but I don't really feel like she's into him, but she wants some, okay? Now as the islanders are chilling, the producer said, let's shake things up, okay? There's a mailbox in both of the villas. Now Kenzie finds the first one and she calls all of the girls to come see this shit, okay? Some shit these guys were doing, right? The guys were cutting up in Casa Amor. Come to find out, it's a collage of each of the guys, well, except Jen because she has no one in Casa, but all of the guys in Casa. And I said, oh, they're messy. Immediately Kata starts crying because, you know, she's been so respectful to Zach and she hasn't been doing too much. And plus, they've been intimate, so you would expect him to be respectful too, but no, he's got to show out, okay? So they're calling out Melanie to bring her behind there, okay, so she can see what Insincere has been up to. And I feel like the only person who wasn't that bad was Bryce, because we know these girls ain't checking for him and he wasn't really doing too much. But back at Casa, after 5 whole hours, the guys finally realize that there's a damn mailbox. And they too got the same, a collage of the girls, and immediately Zach's nervous because they realize the girls probably got the same thing. And he don't want Kata to think that he's moved on. But you're going to be good now because they pulled Miss Racist out of the villa. So who are you going to kiss on? Nobody. Well, he still has Bryce, but Bryce is a little sad, so they're not getting anything in. Okay, did you realize too how they stopped all the PD and all of the things that they were doing now that they're in Casa? Oh, okay. Now, Corbin don't give a shit, okay? He said he's happy for Kenzie. I said, what? Oh my goodness. Now, back at the villa, Melanie is in complete denial about seeing Sincere with Amora. She's crying. Kata's crying, and Trinity had to tell her, girl, stop being so damn delusional, okay? Now, did y'all hear Anaya say, why does he have to go with the girl with the Fulani braids? What does that mean, though? And why does the other girl have to be a bitch? Anaya, stop, okay? I really hate when females do that. Don't do that. Don't call the other girl a bitch. Stop, okay? You were kissing Carl too, okay? And it was outside of the challenge. Don't do too much, girl, please. Then Casey had the nerve to feel some type of way seeing Anaya kissing on Carl. Bryce feels like he's cooked because he's the first white guy that Trinity has ever dated, and she's into guys with tattoos, so he saw the kiss that Trinity shared with Corey. Was it Corey? Yes. Now, I see people saying that they're trying to be like Nicolandria, and I see it because, like I said, I don't see the connection between these two, okay? Meanwhile, they're trying to decipher what Corey is saying to Melanie, and the Cynthia was spot on, okay? He said, they're probably saying that she deserves better, okay? And he's right. She does deserve better, okay? He said that he's more hurt by the way she's looking at Corey, right? Because that's the way she looked at him. And I said, Cynthia, please, just shut up. Yeah, send him home too. I'm tired. We're all tired of Cynthia, okay? Now, back at the villa, Kata's having a meltdown. She's saying how stupid she feels. And Trinity's like, no, girl, he's stupid because y'all had something good and he's messing it up. Anaya's also upset, saying, you know, you must always go with your gut. And I said, girl, go be with Carl, okay? You and Casey don't like each other. Next, okay? Then Miss Clownsy said, oh, she's hurt. Girl, you're only hurt because you're not getting French fried or whatever y'all call it these days. Because I was Trinity, okay? Trinity said, I thought you didn't care about Cobbin, so what are you hurt about? Kenzie, please, okay? Now Anaya starts crying. Kenzie's trying to console her, and I said, damn, the girls are crushed. The girls are struggling. So we get to later on in the evening, and everyone's getting ready for the night. Trinity's telling the girls, y'all better stop being so sad and find you a number 2. I said, how about we scratch number 1 altogether and make the new guys your number 1? Okay, how about that? And while you're at it, Trinity, are you getting a number 2 too? Okay, make it make sense. Meanwhile, the girls at Casa, they're just straight up dragging Kenzie. I was here for it. Not gonna lie. Titi said Kenzie likes whoever likes her. And the way I burst out laughing when she said that, because that's facts, okay? But also, why was Casey being a hypocrite? You're in Casa going from girl to girl, but you're pressed about Anaya sharing a kiss with one guy. Casey, please don't piss me off. How did Casey go from the person I was rooting for in the beginning to being someone that I'm not feeling him at all? I don't like Casey. I like Titi though, but Casey, I'm not feeling you. Please don't piss me off, okay? Talking about, oh, she's on a thin line. Please, Casey. How about you're on a thin line too? Okay? Because you said earlier you have nothing in common with Anaya. So why are you in your feelings? Please. Anyways, we see a chat between Kata, Anaya, and Melanie. Melanie's like, I feel like we're the 3 who saw those photos and we felt some type of way, okay? We've been sad, we've been moping around, but it's kind of giving we're dumb and desperate, okay? I said, okay, pep talk. I'm here for it. She says that they're giving the guys all the power to do whatever they want and think that they're sitting here waiting. And she said, what if it was our daughters, right? Are we going to tell them, or are we going to be like, as long as he's coming back to me? That's stupid. Okay, now we know there are some women who think that way, but come on, ladies, add some value, okay? All right, so they all agree to give it their all, but also Melanie, I hope you remember this when you see Cynthia coming back into the villa. I hope you don't take your words back. So anyways, Melanie's like, girl, Zach is a puppy, but Shay is a big dog, okay? Then Anaya says that she likes Carl and feels like he listens to her. But anyways, they're just, hyping each other up, and they all agree to get some cuddles in for the night. Now, Kenzie and Jen have a talk. Oh my lord. Jenny's saying that she's not really used to seeing a guy she likes talk to other girls in her face. Now, Kenzie. She said that she's really into Dylan, but she's also into Carl's sofa look and how she always pictured herself having sofa babies. And now I'm thoroughly confused because I thought she said she was into cowboys and being on a farm. And now she wants sofa babies. Kenzie, pack your bags. Pack your bags, Kenzie. Go home. Anyways, let's move on, right? Kata and Che speak and she's saying how she's confused. Che tells her sometimes men will be men and she said no, a boy will be a boy. And I said period, Kata, period, okay? But she said to him, you're a man, they're boys. I said okay. So she said she's trying to fill things out and it's not like she doesn't want to kiss him. She just wants to take her time, right? Then we see a conversation between Jen and Ronnie on the dock. And that girl can't stand the fact that G isn't really that into her. And he's not really touching up on her and whatnot. Okay, so she goes for Ronnie, knowing that she doesn't really like that guy. But he's giving her some attention. He's giving her what she wants. And she wants some action. Okay. She wants some D. Now back at Casa, we see Sincere now saying that he misses Melanie. And I'm like, oh, now you miss her? You weren't missing her when you were all up on Amora. When you were kissing all up on her and telling her all of those things. I want to know a lot about you. You were not thinking about Melanie, were you? But now you miss her because you realize you got caught. Oh, okay. Now, Bryce is saying that he's hoping that Trinity remembers all the things, the challenges, and all the things that they've been through because that just gave him a little bit of hope. And I said, not them trying to sell us on this connection between Trinity and Bryce. I don't care who's selling it. I'm not buying it because I don't see it. I don't feel like Bryce is genuine. I don't feel like he likes her. I think she does like him, but I don't think he's feeling her like that. And like I said, the only reason why Bryce is not doing too much is because he's not as muscular as the other guys. He said it. And his jokes were not joking, okay? The girls were not feeling him like that. Anyways, back at the villa, Carl is checking on Anaya to see how she's feeling about the photos with Casey. She said she was sad at first, but now she feels like he's going to do what he wants to do. She then tells Carl that she does want to keep exploring him because she has genuine conversations with him. She tells him that she's into all the cheesy stuff, and he said, well, I can bring you a lot of cheese. I have cheese, okay? Now, when it comes to Anaya, I feel like she's living in a fairy tale world. She's probably very sheltered, and she wants those relationship goal type of relationships, right? You know how a lot of people just praise certain influencers and their relationships and they see it as couple goals, relationship goals, and then come to find out it's not really real. I feel like she's one of those people who try to hold on to that fairy tale happily ever after type of thing, and I'm just good for you, girl, okay? I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that you have to be realistic because not all that glitters is gold, okay? Somebody said Anaya thinks she's branding Cinderella, and I cannot unsee it. That's definitely what it's giving, okay? Anyways, Melanie and Corey chat, and what the hell was he wearing? What is that? Is that what y'all call fashion these days? Because I don't know. Anyways, Melanie's still in denial about what's happening with Insincere. She said she's embarrassed. And I was Corey, because when do you get to the point where enough is enough, okay? And she said she's getting to that point. So anyways, they talk about dream dates. She said she would like to go on a date where they go out to eat, then they get next to the water, watch the sunset and chill. And I said, okay, pretty simple. He said his dream date is being out in the ocean on a yacht, jumping into the sea, chilling or whatever. So Melanie's like, well, I cannot swim. So he said, I bet I'll teach you. Okay, cool. All right. So he says he wants to be there for her as she's going through this. He wants to continue getting to know her, but he knows that someone else is on her mind, but he's still willing to be there for her because he's so drawn to her. Then we see Kata and Anaya acting a fool on the side. What were they doing? They were just straight up clowning Melanie, okay? Now she's trying to keep a straight face while Kata and Anaya are doing the most in the corner, okay? But you could tell that she likes Corey, but she doesn't know if she should shift all her focus on Corey or hold on to Sincere. I don't know what she's holding on to, but I think that's what she's feeling. And we know that a recoupling is coming. Casa Amor is about to end, and I cannot wait to see what happens. Now I need to hear from y'all. Should Melanie choose Corey, or should she go back with Sincere? Okay, tell me how you're feeling about Anaya and Carl. Do you think Casey is going to bring Titi to the villa? Drop all of your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.